Hi, this is Kevin Van Trump. I wanted to thank you for signing up for our free trial, but I also wanted to take just a couple of quick moments to share some insight on how to best use the information and how to get the most out of it each morning. Remember, these are just kind of my thoughts and how I go through and analyze and look at my own investments, my own farm analysis, some of my own strategies and tools that I use to make what I call the most informed decision for me and our family. I was lucky enough. Like I said, I was in the right place, the right time, made some good trades, made some good investments. I'm partners now in farms across the U.S. I have partnerships in farms in South America. Investor in some ethanol plants and ethanol facilities here across the U.S. and other operations in the ag space. So let's just say I wake up every morning pretty heavily invested in the ag sector, and also in our current stock portfolios, our current 401ks, and our profit sharing programs through our businesses and other business ventures that we are involved in. So I'd like to just walk you through just for a moment how I read and assemble the report, and hopefully that gives you guys some better tools to look at it each day kind of through my lens. And maybe that makes things a little bit easier. So I start off each morning with what I call the macro section. That's that first section you see at the top, just below the daily quote. I like a daily motivational quote. Just gives me a little inspiration, a little something to think about. Guys in the office, ladies in the office also contribute to the quotes. They'll send me quotes that they see from time to time or that they read. And I like to pass those along and share them. Also, a lot of my friends that are big traders or CEOs, they'll send me quotes from time to time that they say, hey, what do you think of this quote? Or, and it makes me stop and think. So I start with the quote each morning. Then below that is what I call the macro commentary. And I call these my macro thoughts because they're really, I like to say, more of a view from 30,000 feet. And sometimes I just don't like to get deep into the woods, then I can't see the forest because of all the trees around me. So with the advent of algorithmic trading, high-frequency trading, AI trading models, the markets have dramatically changed over the last 10 years. Now, everything seems to be more interwound and more tied together. If North Korea lobs a bomb over to South Korea, the soybean market could be impacted in a hurry. If Russian troops invade a portion of Ukraine, the wheat market all of a sudden skyrockets. If you have forecasts for a polar vortex, you'll have fund managers on the equity side in Boston trying to do cross-hedging into the wheat complex. So there's all this interwoven and interwound play now because we've seen more computers and more algorithmic formulas get involved. So never before has this been so important to understand and know the moving parts and pieces of the geopolitical landscape. So you're sitting there as a farmer, and I know this firsthand from my family and friends at home. You're focused on growing corn, beans, wheat. You got cattle, you may have some hogs, or whatever it may be. And you're in the livestock business or you're in the row crop business. You're doing cotton or rice, and you're saying, well, what the heck does it matter what's happening geopolitically in Iran? Why does it matter what's happening in North Korea? Why does it matter what's happening in Russia with Ukraine? Well, it matters immensely. The Black Sea region is one of the lowest cost providers, global lowest cost providers of wheat. The world depends on that wheat. And I could go into a litany of other reasons why some of the top fund managers and biggest hedge funds are paying super close attention to this global macro space and how that impacts and moves the markets. I try to detail that in that opening paragraph. So I try and give you a quick glimpse of what's happening in the markets from a geopolitical perspective with some of the biggest and most powerful leaders, to what's happening with the Fed and interest rates, what's happening with fuel, what's happening with energy prices, and how we need to kind of take all of that into consideration when we're thinking about locking in longer-term loans, longer-term rates, or whether we're thinking about locking in diesel fuel for the farm, or we're thinking about trading in the stock market. Like I said, I kind of spill out all of my overview of that in that opening section. Tweets. We moved down to the next section. I included this. My son came on board a couple of years ago from the University of Arkansas, and we started to see some interesting things on Twitter, and there's a lot of algorithmic trading platforms that really just do nothing but track Twitter and track social media, and that's how they place a lot of their trades. So we started a section in the report. It was tweet of the day, and it kind of expanded about 6 or 7 tweets. And really, it's just a report that offers some interesting visuals. Generally includes a little business, a little agriculture, and a little personal interest. Like I said, I think some of the time it's just something kind of fun to maybe bring about a little laugh, or something interesting to consider from a graphical standpoint. Now, if we move down past the Twitter section, we get into the market specifics. That's where I talk specifics about corn, soybeans, and wheat. We have a lot of producers and people that want comments about cotton, rice, cattle, hogs. Those really were not my specialty as I traded professionally in Chicago or in Kansas City. I focus more on corn, soybeans, and wheat, and I learned from some of those folks who also focused heavily in those 3 main crops. Now, we do have people on our staff and on our team that will write about rice and write about cattle, and at times we write about cotton, and we offer our opinions and our strategies, because I am partners in some farms that we do have those crops, and we do have to pay attention to that, and we do do cash marketing in those areas as well. So it isn't like I have never traded them, but I'm just saying I don't trade them day to day on a heavy basis. Now, we do pass along that information. I also take and pride myself on passing along information and market moving information that I believe is relevant. I tell readers, my personal positions, my personal theory, and my personal strategy. Now, by no means are these recommendations that you want to rely on for your own personal operation or your own personal trading or things of that nature. But my way of style of doing it is probably going to be way different than a lot of other folks. And I tell everyone that you have to have your own style, and you have to have your own understanding, really think through all of your moving parts and your moving pieces, and then make the best decision based on that. I just allow people the ability to look behind the curtain and see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm moving my chess pieces around. Hopefully it sparks some ideas and some thoughts on how you can do some things with your business, your operation, your investments as well. I also pass along information and insight for many of my longtime trading friends and other industry insiders who are maybe running big in ag companies or things like that. I pass along things I hear and talk to with them, and just lay out there what they're seeing on their end and how they're kind of maneuvering their pieces as well. And we think this has helped a lot of folks, and has provided a ton more perspective than what you get out in your own local area. A lot of times, like I said, you feel like you're out on an island in some of the small rural communities where I grew up and things. You just feel like you're on an island, and you don't get to hear a perspective of someone running a huge hedge fund in New York, or the perspective of a farmer out in California who's facing some different, who's seeing things differently. So we get a broad range of perspective, and I think that's why people love the information and the report. Now, we move down from the market specifics, and we get into what we call float your goats. Now, this is a bit of an inside joke. Like I said, my son Jordan started a business when he came back from college called Ag Swag. Now, his company mascot's a goat called Gary, and for years, my friends loved me forwarding articles and emails that caught my attention, just random things that people either sent me or that, someone in the trading world sent my way, or like I said, a business executive sent my way, and it stopped and it made me think. So I put that in the report, and one of my trading friends said to me one day, he said, hey, I don't care, just send me whatever floats your boat. And we thought, hey, that's a funny play on words. We'll just change it to whatever floats your goat. And so when I have an article or some information that I feel is intellectually stimulating, or something that stops and makes me think, or that I would be interested in reading, we simply, we include it in this section. So in any regards, again, these are just timely articles and information that should make you think, or maybe spark some fresh idea for you to use or implement in your business or your operation. Like I said, it's just about trying to move people a little bit off center and have them think just a little bit differently. Now, we move further down in the report. There's a section called From My Perspective. Now, this section of the report is where I just started writing random editorials and comments about bigger picture type items. I try to incorporate a little history, game-changing new technologies, best of business practices, and a few personal life-building tools or life experiences that's come our way from our family. So one of my fondest accolades is from a wife who came up to me at a speaking engagement, and she had tears in her eyes, and she told me, and she said she was forever grateful and that I've made her husband a better man, and in turn, I've helped her family become a much happier family. Now, those are pretty strong words, and I was speaking again at an event. I spoke as a keynote at the Louisville Machinery Show, or Farmer Show, and I had a lady come up to me again, crying, and she said she was forever grateful for everything that I had done and our report had done to help her family, and that we had saved them thousands and thousands of dollars, and that more than that, we'd help them look at things and help them change some of their perspectives about life and about just different things and different tools with the family. I've also had some folks call and say I caught them at just the right day or caught them at just the right time, and they were contemplating suicide, and they had thought about taking their life, and I can't tell you how grateful or happy and rewarding it is to know that just the right day and just the right time, something passed their plate that made them change their mind. So, we've helped. There's been many wives with their kids sit in our basement or sit at our kitchen table at our house who had just lost their husbands and fathers, and their husbands and fathers had said if anything happened to them, to that I would be someone they could trust, and that they should come talk to me, and I could help point them in the right direction. And also, I carry that, very heavily as another badge of honor that I can help those folks and those families who are in need at that time. So that's something else that's come from all this. This From My Perspective at the bottom. I feel many people have told me that they love the bottom of the report and actually start there each morning and work their way up. So, they said it's helped broaden their perspective and makes them think more about their own actions and their own life. Now, I document and talk about many of my own failures in this section too, and things that we may be battling as a family. I pass along some of the life hacks and information that others have shared to help my wife and I and our children grow along our journey. And I believe it's the least I can do to give that back and pass that along to you guys as well. So I hope you find the From My Perspective section as enjoyable as I find in writing it. So, that's really there. In summary, in a nutshell, I try to provide, like I said, a glimpse and an overview of how a professional trader's mind works and how they think, how they look at things as they start their day, and how they try to kind of put the puzzle pieces together. And I start with the big picture and the global macro events, and then I work my way down through there. Now, sometimes, like I said in the beginning, we get ourselves too deep in the trees to see the forest. I believe that if we back off a little bit and take a look and a view from 30,000 feet, it's extremely important. I've also found that having multiple perspectives has kept me and taught me to avoid some of the bigger pitfalls and landmines that may be in the road ahead. I love doing things my way, and I love my rural America background, and I wouldn't change it for the world how I was brought up or raised. But sometimes if you get tunnel vision and you put those blinders on, there's definitely some blind spots that you miss and things you don't see. And I hope that we can bring that to you each day in this report, that it challenges your perspective and it challenges your thoughts. If you're looking for information that's just going to simply agree with what you currently believe in, this probably isn't something that you want to continue with or keep reading. This is for people that want someone sitting at their board of directors table, and it's going to challenge their moves and challenge their thoughts and make them have reason and make them have complete strategy or reasoning behind the strategies that they're making. So I hope that's what we bring. Something else I strongly believe is that you have to find a way to filter all the noise. With technology coming on like it has, we have access now to more information than ever before. And I hear people say, well, I can get some of this, I can just get a lot of stuff for free maybe out on the internet. You maybe, but I challenge you and I question if you have a way to filter what's actually music and what's actually moving the market, or what's simply just noise. Now, I believe I can provide that filter just because of my 30 years experience and all the friends and people I have in my network that keep me in check and challenge my perspective and my thoughts. That may be what is running across the headlines, and that may be what's happening, but that's not really what the market is calling music. That's just more noise. And in today's world, we have so much noise. It's crazy, and it's tougher and tougher for me to filter. So that's why when I hear folks say that don't have a ton of experience, it's difficult for me to believe that they have the tools to filter that noise. Now, like I said, I hope this provides you with that as well. I try to spark thought. If you're looking for a pain pill or someone to tell you what to do, this isn't your letter. This isn't what you want for research. I personally like to call my own shots, and I think a lot of other folks do as well. And so I don't like signing up or becoming part of something that's a pain pill. I don't like taking pain pills. I don't like masking it. I think just bad things happen. So I like things that challenge my perspective, and it's always what I know I don't know that makes me the most nervous. So I become the most worried when I start thinking I know everything about a certain subject. I remember an old boy in Chicago once saying to me, the older I get, I hope the dumber I become. Now, I always found that to be very interesting. And all he was saying, remember, was what he's saying again. The older I get, I hope the dumber I become. And I challenge myself regularly to live that, simply saying this. Each day, I hope to challenge myself to enter new horizons and be open to new adventures that I know nothing about. You stay driving the same dirt road every day and farm the same farms that your dad farmed and his dad farmed and his dad farmed, and you go to the same restaurants. I'd live this life. You become very smart. You definitely become smart about your specific routine. But as this old man said to me in Chicago, I hope I get dumber because I become open to new experiences and new adventures that I know nothing about. And that's what I hope to bring to this party, and I hope to bring to you as a family and as a person, and I hope to enrich your lives, and I hope you see it as more than simply some guy out here talking about the markets, because I try a lot harder than that, and I hope you see that in the report each day. So again, I welcome you. I love the fact that you've taken your time, and you do have a choice, and I understand that, and you have a choice in what you do with your time. And my family, my wife and I, my kids, and our team, we appreciate the fact that you've given us this opportunity. I hope this little walkthrough kind of gives you a little better understanding. And if there's anything I can do or our team can do, feel free to please give the office a call, and we'll go from there. Thank you.